You're listening to the Flaherty Solutions Podcast. I'm Erin Flaherty.
And I'm Kevin Flaherty. Today, we are going to be talking about vices. That's right. Drinking, smoking, shopping, eating, all the fun stuff I love to do, but maybe shouldn't do so much. So let's talk about vices. What else are we going to talk about?
Well, we're going to talk about vices, self-care, habits, and just the combination of all three. Because I think the lines are blurred, right?
The lines are very blurred. It's easy to justify vices. I mean, let's be honest, we all do it.
I think, so I did not look up the Webster's dictionary definition of vices, but from my perspective, a vice is something one uses to cope with life, and it has a propensity or tendency for you to say afterward, maybe I shouldn't have done that.
That's a good definition.
My definition of vice. That is not the same definition as self-care, but some people might call some vices self-care.
That's true. Self-medication or self-care? Or both?
Well, but self-care is a big buzzword these days.
Yeah.
So, hashtag self-care and a bottle of wine. I don't know if that's self-care.
No.
But hot bath.
People
sleep.
say that. Hashtag self-care and a bottle of wine. That's awesome. Where are my new friends?
What is your definition of self-care and what's your
Well,
definition of vices?
that was awesome. That was really good.
Yeah?
I like that. I got to look that up in the dictionary. It's just going to show a picture of you.
Real? Am I your vice or I'm?
No, you have the correct definition of vice.
I am the vice.
But what you said was beautiful. If you think that's a good way to put it. The next morning when you're waking up, you're like, oh man, I just crushed 12 beers. Go me. It shouldn't be go me, maybe. It should be like, I feel like terrible.
So I think this time of year is especially vulnerable to vices.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, I'm going to the holiday party. I'm going to crush it.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat all the food and drink all the drinks. And we'll just start January in January, right?
Yeah.
And
It's so true. It is
Right?
so true. Because like Wednesday, the night before Thanksgiving, is the biggest drinking holiday. Or it's not a holiday, but now we're starting to create it into a holiday. It's more alcohol is consumed the night before Thanksgiving than on St. Patty's Day. And leading up to it, like the Monday, Tuesday, like, oh yeah, and then all of a sudden your friends like go down the line like, hey, what are we doing? Like, what do you mean? It's the night before. Oh yeah, that's right. We have to party hard, like
Right.
harder than we normally do for some reason. But you're right, it's a holiday.
And it's cold out and it's stressful and there are lots of parties and people bring booze. And we're not just talking about booze, we're talking about every vice from I ate too much chocolate to I have a full out drug addiction. I mean, we're going to encompass, and hopefully more people fall into the drink too much, eat too much. But they're all
That's our
vices.
circle of friends, or like not just our circle of friends, but what we're exposed to. We're not really exposed to the drug community.
Yeah, but we might actually be surprised. There might be people among
absolutely.
us who are not out with their addiction.
Yeah.
It is a crisis right now.
Yes.
So we might
like
actually.
we don't hang out with people that actively like say like, wow, I had a bad batch of heroin last week. Because we actually worked with someone, and he's like, I'm not sure about my girlfriend. Like they just started dating, and he's like. She'd said like one of her friends almost OD'd on heroin, and he's like, heroin? He's like, that's the stuff you see in movies. You don't see that in like real life. Like, who is she hanging out with? And
When was this though?
this is about 3 years ago.
Okay.
He married her.
It's become even more even in 3
but
years. But the awareness is also
the
gone.
awareness is up, but I still don't think we're exposed. Like our friends are like, here, take this shot of tequila.
Right.
But they're not like, so we're not exposed in that capacity.
I agree. So I think circling back to vices, I think where people struggle is if they could picture them regretting it the next day. Like if they could put themselves in the position to where, it all feels good going down, right?
Yeah.
It's all, the cookie's great, the booze is great.
Regular cookie, not like a special
Overeating is a big,
Gotcha.
with the obesity crisis in this country, overeating is absolutely a vice.
Yeah.
Like food,
Oh, big
like
time.
Christmas cookies are a vice.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you can't indulge, and it doesn't have to mean it's abusive, but this country has a problem with overeating.
Yes.
So if people could just take whatever vice they have and put themselves in the position when they will regret it,
Yeah.
and feel the regret before they partake, and maybe make a different choice or make a smaller dose of that choice.
Yeah, but to your point we were talking about yesterday, it kind of goes to your story. Like, and you say story, like, how much are you buying in to weight loss right now? Like,
Right.
you tell yourself and you justify to yourself. So the more you're ready to lose weight or cut back on your drinking, it's easier to get into that mindset of, oh, should I have this next drink or am I going to regret it? And
So
when you're
some
not,
priorities.
when it's not a priority to lose the weight or to cut back on your drinking, you're going to justify on the side of, well, I'll have another
Right.
drink. I'll have another slice of cake.
But does anyone ever regret not having more to drink, or not, like, I really wish I'd tried those,
Edibles.
rum balls. I mean, insert
Did we go there?
insert whatever vice
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
Does anyone ever wish they had done more of the vice? I wish I'd spent more money at the mall yesterday. Like,
I don't know. There's some backwards.
I know you oppose me on this. You're
There's
like
some
the little
backwards.
the little vice
I
devil on my shoulder.
I kicked the angel off my shoulder there. And no, I don't think most people regret that. Not in your adult life. Well, adult life being
Right.
like 30 and above. I don't really think like 29 and younger. But then you're like, oh, I missed that last drink. Everybody went to the next bar. They had the best time ever.
Okay.
There are definitely, but to your point, I do think when you err on the side of caution and don't partake in that last cookie and you feel better.
Or how about just moderation? Like, we don't have to stop drinking. We don't have to stop eating cookies.
Yeah.
But how about, where do you draw the line between I'm going to just have a drink and, oh, I just had 10, or 10 drinks, 10 cookies, 10 puffs of something?
I think it comes down to mindset and also genetics. I do think some people have more trouble just having one drink versus one of your favorite person, I think, put it perfectly, Gretchen Rubin of the Productivity Show.
No, she's happier. It's happier with Gretchen.
Happier with Gretchen Rubin. She said there's, I forget the phrase, limiters, like people that can limit themselves to a few, and then there's people that can't start. And there's people that might be on a diet and they're like, I can't have five cookies. But they know if they have one, they're ultimately going to have 5.
Right.
So you need to figure out your personality. I can't have any at all, or I'm good at having just one, or today I'm only going to have 2. And you have that self-discipline. There's 2 types of people. I got to figure out the term she used, because the terms were good.
She also, one way to limit, or one way to practice discipline, is to group things together. So say I'm only going to have a cookie or have a drink on days I work out.
Yeah.
Like you're able to have rules with certain things.
Boom, work out every day now.
Yeah? Are we at every day? I don't keep score
this past 2 weeks kind of like ever since that test. Oh my God, that test ruined me.
Did you just toot a false horn? You're like, work out every day.
I was joking.
Kidding.
I was joking. I was like, I can have a drink every day.
I got you.
Full
now.
circle. Full circle. Stay with
We're
me
back
here.
to vices.
Stay back.
See, and I have to work out every day because, and it's a story I'm telling myself, I know that I'm better off working out every day, because if I don't, I will get into a new habit. I'm really good at doing all in with something.
Yes.
So I'm either all in working out or I'm all in not.
Yeah.
So I choose right now to be all in working out.
Yeah.
Because that has so many other benefits. If I take a day off, I'm going to be like, what's 2 days? What's 3 days off? So for me, working out every single day is what's working right now.
Awesome. It shows. You look great.
Thank you.
I love it.
I feel great.
You feel great. No, but back to not quite working out every day. I'm pretty close.
But I can't remember who said this. It might have been Trent Shelton or Amy Porterfield at Rise Conference. They said the only person you need to be better than is the person who you were yesterday.
And I think that's huge. Like from all the stuff you took away from Rise Conference, I've always been competing against other people. I don't know why.
It's just, you're born that way. It's what
Yeah.
motivates you. There's
Yeah.
nothing wrong with it.
Well, and even my family kind of ingrained it into us
With sports?
not just sports, but like when we visited my grandparents, they would kind of pin us like, oh, what's your cousin doing? Are you doing something better? Not my grandparents, but like the aunts and uncles were like,
Yeah.
did you know that, you know,
Yeah.
XYZ did this? And then, you know, your parent would chime in and be like, Kevin scored 3 touchdowns today. Like, even.
They're all still doing that.
They're still doing
They
it.
might be watching this.
No.
Still doing it.
They're not watching this. And if you are, live and learn. You're welcome. Anyway, where were we going? Okay, so competing with yourself,
Yeah.
I think, has kind of the two things Trent Shelton said. I think Trent said that, even though I wasn't there. I'm acting like I was. Trent said, compete against yourself. Like, you don't stop being better than you are right now. Like, is that the sixth grade, 6-year-old, 7-year-old?
That was Ed Milet. So,
Okay.
quick story.
This is great.
So,
stay with us, people.
Ed Milet spoke at Rise Conference, and actually, I didn't even learn this from Rise Conference. I learned this from a video that he did where he had a 6-year-old at the time, and he was getting his car serviced at an auto body shop, and his son was about to turn 7, and the mechanic said, well, you know, when he turns 7, you know, you lose the 6-year-old, and when he turns 8, you lose the 7-year-old.
Yeah.
And Ed wasn't trying to be arrogant. He was like, well, when did that process stop for all of us?
Yeah.
You know, when do you decide, well, I'm 29, I'm 35, I guess this is just it. This is how I am.
Yeah.
Or why aren't we as humans? I mean, we're adaptation machines. Like,
Yeah.
we can do anything. You can do way more than you think you can. So when did you stop evolving and just accepting yourself? And why aren't you trying to get better every day? Why aren't we all
100% true.
naturally trying to evolve into the better version of ourselves?
Because it's hard. That's why.
Right.
It is hard to do, to keep growing and keep being better. I can say that when I listen to a lot of self-help, like, I'm on my game. And I'll go 3 to 4 months listening to podcasts on my way back and forth to work, and then I'll stop and I'll want to break. And then I stop growing. So like I'm 30, oh God, I'm 37.
You're 37.
37, but I'm using an example. But when I was 35, then I'm like 35 and a half because I'm listening to all this self-help. I'm growing, I'm evolving, and then I stay stuck at 35 and a half for 18 months.
Mm-hmm.
So it's those things you want to take away to keep motivating yourself. The other thing I want that these kind of just hit me recently, like, be better than you were the day before. And then the Trent Shelton 10 years.
Is Kevin, or is the you in 10 years proud of the decisions you are making today?
Yeah. Just let that sit in for a minute. Like, Kevin 10 years from now, you 10 years from now, what you're doing today, like, are you going to be happy with those decisions?
It determines what you are doing today. Your habits determine who you are. 10 years from today, are you proud of those decisions? And that just goes back to putting yourself in the position of regret before you do certain things. And that doesn't mean you can't indulge, and that doesn't mean you can't rest and you can't enjoy life. But if there's some regret going with that, and especially, so what I don't get, back to vices and drinking in particular, you and I went through a time where we were drinking almost every day.
Yeah. Miss those days.
We were drinking almost every day.
Yeah.
I personally, I will not speak for you, but I personally felt like there was something dependent and not 100% right about that. Like, for me, I was like, this doesn't feel great that I do this every day. So what gets me and what I truly don't understand, I respect it, but I don't understand it, is when people indulge too much, especially in alcohol, and then they complain about their hangover, and then they do it next weekend. And it's like,
next weekend.
you are a grown person. person.
Yeah.
You're not a rodent. Like you're not a dog. You don't eat too much and then forget about it and then do it again.
Yeah.
Like you know what's gonna happen. Why do you do it again? And why what? And it could be addiction, and it could just be I don't understand.
Yeah.
So if you're going to regret it, putting yourself ahead of that and making different decisions.
I think it goes back to all that like self-control and the story we tell ourselves. Like they forget because a week's gone by and they got hit with a lot of life throughout the week. Like, oh, my job, oh, my boss was such a jerk this week. The kids, their school got canceled. I need this drink. I deserve this drink. And it's the story they tell themselves.
And it's fun.
Ooh.
And I don't think I would have survived the children's toddler years without alcohol.
Thank God. Thank God. Anyway, going back to kind of the evolution of drinking every day, when I've been analyzing this because we were preparing for this podcast.
Yeah.
We prepare for about 30 seconds and then we go. But when I was in college and I was surrounded by adults because I worked in a bank, the bankers would always say like, oh, I'm going home and I'm having my scotch tonight, or I'm having my glass of wine. So to me as a college kid, it was like, when you're older, you're supposed to, you've earned it. You had a rough day, you had loans that didn't go through, you can drink every day. And then what really was the caveat where it was like, I deserve this and I'm kicking butt. I'm like, I was at a sales meeting. We were at a crab fest and one of the people in the meeting said, oh, our daughter came home and said,
Hannah.
Hey Hannah, we're recording. Anything you want to say to the camera?
We're talking about vices, habits, and self-care.
What's that first thing mean?
Vices?
Something that you do to cope with life.
Huh.
Eat too much, drink too much,
That
shop
sounds-
too much.
That sounds like something I could definitely
Shame.
relate to. I'll get really, really bored, so then I'll find myself eating 1 or 2 entire bags of chips.
This is true. I've witnessed this.
And then how do you feel afterward?
Oh, I feel awful and stuffed and full, and it doesn't actually help at all, but I need something to do in the meantime, so I keep doing it.
Do you ever adjust? And we were just talking about this, so it's relevant. Do you ever adjust later? Do you ever think back to when you felt like that and adjust your behavior next time?
Yeah, I'll often find myself hiding the own bags for myself. I mean, what else can I do? I think, I don't want to do that again. I really got to stop.
She's not a rodent, people. She's not a rodent. That we said that earlier.
Yeah,
in the show.
you're saying how people drink all weekend and then complain about their hangover, and then they drink all weekend the next time. And
What's that have to do with rodents? I think that
Because rodents will they don't learn.
or dogs, they'll eat too much and then they throw up and then they don't learn and they do it again.
There's a scientist.
We're more intelligent.
A scientist in the audience that's like, that is not true about rodents. How dare they disgrace the name of rodents? They don't do that. Dogs do that.
Rodents are pretty neat creatures.
They are.
They're not actually too smart.
Do you have anything else to say on vices and habits and self-care?
I don't like cheese. Hannah out.
All right.
Hannah out.
Thank you.
All right. That was awesome.
Yeah.
She's so smart.
She is.
I'm so proud of her.
I know.
We're proud of you, Hannah.
Yep.
We're trying to fit in Parent of the Year awards here. If you could see the look on my face on the podcast, you can know. I'm being sarcastic. All right. So back to where I've deserved it.
Oh, yeah.
It was back, I want to say in 2013, I was at the sales meeting and I had no idea this was happening. This gentleman that was one of the support people all of a sudden stands up and goes, I'd like to congratulate Kevin for being #1 in 13 states. And everybody in the room that were wholesalers, these are people that take you out to lunch. They want you to know their products so you can present their products to clients. They all turned around at the exact same time. There was 10 of them, and they wrote down my name. And then on work on Monday morning, I got a call from all of them. And they all wanted to take me out to lunch. They all wanted to take me out to dinner. And that was part of the game. That was part of the process. But then that also led into, I'm very deserving. So I worked hard this week If I want to have a drink on a Wednesday night, I can have a drink. Why not Thursday night? You know, like they're taking me out to lunch. I've earned this. And then next thing you know, it's, wow, I haven't not had a drink in 2 weeks. Let me take a day off just so I can prove to myself that there's a problem.
That is the only reason I ever took off.
Yeah.
But for me, I didn't have that same experience.
Yeah.
Being taken out and deserving it. And you and I are driven by different things. Like we're driven by some of the same things.
Yeah.
But we have different motivators. For me, it was a nice, a glass of wine was a really nice transition between work and kids coming home.
Yeah. That was your break.
It was just sort of, I want to get work off my brain and I want to be a fun mom. I don't want to yell at them every time they splash in the bath. So a glass of wine will help me not yell at them when they splash in the bath. And then I really do think there's something addictive in alcohol, even though I fortunately don't have an addictive personality. There was something that left me wanting that every day.
Yeah.
Like,
you get
work,
routine.
Work is over. Where's my glass of wine so I can be fun mom? Which is so, you know, I've learned by quitting things like caffeine.
Yeah.
I haven't officially quit alcohol, but I haven't had a drink since November 27th. And that's, given our history, even in the last year, that's a long time. So I've pretty much quit alcohol. After 2 weeks of something, you don't miss it.
Yeah, that's true.
Anything.
Yeah.
You know, and if you know yourself, if you know that you'll go back to that every day, it's just best to stay away.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's something you regret, or I just felt like after a while, since I was trying to cut back, I never felt like even one glass of wine was a great idea. And that's when I decided to cut it out. It was just never like, I should keep doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Also, when
To
you
each
get up,
their own.
well, and when you get up early and you work out, if you have a glass of wine at 5
But
p.m.,
since we
you want to
found
fall
out
asleep.
I'm a bear and I need more
This
sleep.
is so interesting, the sleep chronotypes. That's a whole other podcast, but
We'll get into that one.
We
It's
will.
psychogeometrics.
we have
Yeah,
so
we
many
got-
topics. And
we
on
got a lot
that
of
note,
it.
if you're still listening, thank you. We are on iOS. So if you listen to Apple Podcasts or Spotify podcasts, we are on both of those. So you can not only watch our pretty faces, but you can
Ooh.
but you can listen to us.
Do you like that? That was good. I like that.
And please leave us a review. We'd love it. We go and see people all the time. Everywhere we go, people tell us how much they love the podcast. Please leave a review on iOS or on Spotify, right?
Or all of them. We're on all of them. You can leave
If
it
you
on
love
any-
us a lot, leave us a review. Leave us a review on every,
Nobody loves us
on
that
every
much.
medium. They do. We're
It's
getting
awesome.
a lot of
We do
a lot of
appreciate it.
We
It's
do. We thank you. We're going to continue to deliver content like this. If there's something you would like us to talk about, bring it on.
Bring it on. We're ready to talk about anything, as you can clearly see. We just talked about boozing it up. And to wrap up this conversation, I think there's a couple points that need to be made, especially for you are working from home. So that glass of wine for you was, I've heard this from other clients,
Who's my
they
computer?
need, even if you have kids at home or you don't, you need a break from work. How are you going to stop working? So I have one client that's in his 60s. He works from home. He goes to the gym at 5 and he hates working out, but he knows since he works at home, he has to cut his brain off.
Let me just say this, and I don't mean to cut you off. Everybody hates working out.
Oh, it's
Nobody
the worst.
likes it. So if you want to get in shape, like don't think all of a sudden you're gonna love running.
Yeah, people
Like-
that are like, I love this.
No,
they're-
I like what it does for me. Just
There-
like I
there
might
are.
like what vaccines do for my children,
Yeah.
but I don't like working out.
Yeah.
Nobody likes working out.
Yeah,
Okay, continue.
but I wonder, are there people that
No,
do like
there
working
are, but the majority, it's discipline and it's habits
Yeah.
and it's the other
Yeah.
thing that comes with it. So just wanted to say, nobody likes it.
out? I sure as hell don't like it. But to that, cutting your day off. So one client did it with working out. You did it with a glass of wine to shift gears. To me, having a glass of wine is much better than popping a synthetic pill like a Xanax.
Oh,
Or,
absolutely.
you know,
Oh yeah.
like to me, it's more natural. So I view it as something like this is what God created. He literally came down from the heavens.
Made some grapes really old
Yeah, and tried.
for me.
We'll get into the story of how wine was invented.
Okay, that's just what I think. You know, or yeah.
All right. We were talking about vices, self-help, and what was the third topic? I think we hit it.
No, we did. They were all related. We talked about habits. Self-care whereas vice is something that has the propensity to make you feel regret in any way, self-care will not give you regret. So you're not going to regret taking a hot bath unless you run the water too hot or something like that. You're not going to regret taking time to meditate.
Yeah.
So if there's no propensity to regret it, then I'd say another Aaron definition, it's self-care. It's not a vice.
There you go. I love it.
What do you think?
I totally agree.
I mean,
I like vices and self-care.
What's one example that you like? I'm putting you on the spot. What's a self-care?
Like going fishing, very therapeutic,
right.
That type of stuff.
And
actually,
then,
like reading reports on stocks. That's how much of a geek I am.
Right. Now here's the thing. Work for me can be a vice.
This is true. You need more TV in your life.
Now, hold on though. So you can replace vices with self-care. So if it's a vice, if what you're hearing, if you like my definition of vice, you can make a list of vices that you might have, make a list of self-care items, which comes with no regret. So for me, I've started journaling.
Yeah.
I read. I can paint my nails. There is no regret. So you can replace. If I want to replace the daily glass of wine, I can go to my self-care list.
That's right. That's right. I have to admit, and this is like hard to admit, journaling. Oh my God. It is it works, but I still hate doing it.
Do you know one reason I do it, which has nothing to do with the actual practice of journaling? I'm trying to break up with my phone.
Okay.
So if I want to because the phone can be really distracting. The phone can be a vice.
Yeah.
It can be really distracting. It can suck up your whole day. It can suck up time. Journaling gets me away from my phone. Yeah. And I have to be alone with my thoughts, and I can put my thoughts on paper. So it has another
I don't
purpose.
even like it. It's funny. I don't even like it for that reason because I'm not breaking up with my phone. We're together. We're committed. I even put an Apple sticker on her back, and I give her back rubs. We're in love. No, but I do find myself to be have more gratitude in my life when I practice the journaling and I do the exercises, but I still hate.
So I have my Start Today journal, but I also have my journal where I just write thoughts. Where if I'm having a crap day, I used to think journaling had to be Dear Diary, today, and it's not.
I get what you're saying. I think what I'm saying is going right over your head. How do I turn journaling into self-care? Because even though it's good for me, I still don't want to do the activity.
You don't have to do journaling as self-care. If it's not your jam, don't do it.
Yeah.
Find something. I think your walks are self-care.
Jam is my jam.
Our walks
waiting for that.
Are walks self-care for you?
No, I have to fulfill my Apple Watch circle. So I need to get my circles in.
So, and I would hesitate to say TV is self-care.
Oh, yeah.
I would hesitate.
That's my Yoda.
It's borderline. So what besides TV?
I would say my walks are self-care.
Fishing.
I have to check. I'm a check the box personality. So if I have a notification on my phone of you have one email, I have to check it right away. If I have a Facebook notification, I gotta clear the little red dots. Get out of my way, little red dots. And with this Apple Watch, now that I get notified that you haven't completed a circle, I need to check that box. So I'm a check the box type.
That's interesting. I didn't see you as a check the box type.
Only on certain things though. If
you're
the
stairs.
Exactly. I'm just me by 1 second.
Literally the stairs.
The stairs. I was thinking I'll walk by a cardboard box that needs to go out in the garage, and I'll walk by it 4 times.
Stuff your spouses do to drive you crazy. Another podcast episode. Let's see if we're still laughing by the end.
I better count my blessings and get out of this one before I get myself in trouble.
We're not doing that.
No, but it's very hard to be organized. I want to be super organized. I want to be super tidy, but every 6 months I just need to throw everything out of my truck because it's just, I'll never look at that piece of paper again. I don't know. We're going so many directions.
Do you have any other good examples? So I like fishing as self-care. So fishing,
walking. I'm starting to like the little gym routine I have. It's not like I'm going to be Mr. Universe anytime soon, but it's good. It makes me feel stronger.
A spa treatment, an at-home spa treatment, reading a nonfiction or fiction or nonfiction, reading a magazine.
Not really my cup of tea.
Calling a friend.
Self-care. Like honestly, like the only thing I read is like finance articles.
You don't have to read.
And that's my like, that is self-care though. Because that gets my brain like really sharp. If somebody asks me a question, like boom, 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 boom. So to me, that's self-care.
For you, I think cooking is self-care.
Oh,
when
definitely.
You're cooking
Yes.
A cut of meat that you're excited about, or I think that's self-care for you.
Oh, definitely. Because that's my art.
And
that's
no
art.
regrets.
Yeah.
Now eating is a different story, but cooking it is self-care for you. There's no regret.
Yeah. No.
Right?
No, I love cooking. Let's cook something.
Let's wrap it up.
All right, people. We appreciate you hanging out with us for 31 minutes.
Woo-hoo! Is this episode 8 or 9? I guess if you count them.
I can't count that high.
All right. Well, we're getting up there. We can't wait to see you again. We are going to record an episode ahead of Christmas.
Maybe.
So
we might record in the Bahamas.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, we might do that. We might share with you our adventures.
We will be here next week on
God willing.
Christmas.
We'll try.
No, so one way or another, we're showing up.
I don't know. Are we getting reception down there?
We will figure it out.
All right, people. For you, we'll do Christmas with you.
Share with your friends. Please leave a review. We'll see you next week.
Bye.